buddy.
Welcome to Surface Noise, the A-side.
Smooth-ish. Sliding into second. All right, we'll let the room fill up. We got Jose literally broke huge news in the geo-economic environment. We'll get into it in a second. I know everyone wants to hear about economic strife and port resolutions and all that kind of stuff. So we'll let the room fill up, but I'm glad everybody's here. Let's see the first few commenters before we get ripping and rolling. I see AZ Mick. Hello. Arguably one of the nicest people out there. I don't think I've ever seen AZ Mick say a crossword. Have you guys ever seen Mick say? I can't recall. Mick is always saying hello. Always good to see him. And then Cesar was the first. I mean, this guy was here before we even started. He was trying to get first in line, like it's first at the dinner table. So good to see you here. Oh, and this guy, arguably one of the sexiest men in Canada, right after Alan Thicke, rest in peace. This is Rob, Northern Revolutions. Good to see you, sir. Good to see you. Oh, and this guy spins vinyl. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's a whatnot supernova of record distribution. So good to see you. And then this guy, Kendall, who Steve Carlson will get into the knows. Kendall, I'll be seeing you tomorrow. Kendall has volunteered to chauffeur me around the Charlotte, North Carolina area. So he may be dumping my body somewhere. So this may be the last time you see me, but just know
Are you going to the Dylan thing?
I am. That's right. I'm getting on a silver bird, and we're flying out, and we're gonna see what's going on. Originally, the plan was we have a mutual friend, and I made a deal with this mutual friend of Dylan and mine that on the 5-year anniversary we'd both go because he hasn't been to Dylan's shop. Unfortunately, work stuff got in the way for him, so I'm going solo from the MO, but it should be fun. I saw the flip video. I'm going more for the camaraderie and, get the fun T-shirt and that sort of thing. So, anywho,
Tons of great people there. Tons of great people down there.
Well, I think your man, the Zonk Man, is going to be there. I saw him comment somewhere, so I'm looking for. Is that the Zonk Man? I've never. Yeah. So that should be exciting. So, and then Kendall and. VC Ambassador, I think, is one of your guys, Steve. So it's Steve. Again, if my body goes missing, we know who to blame, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is Surface Noise. If you couldn't tell, now you know. Some familiar faces and a new face to this program that I'm excited about. A podcast super duper star, and we're going to get into it in a second. Let's go through the introductions. In case you don't know, if this is your first time. I'm Concert Buddy at the ones and twos. If you couldn't tell, we are celebrating the port strike resolution. Jose Moreno Ron did his best. Tom Brokaw broke the news before we went to air that they've found a resolution. So I'll be curious to see if Vinyl Me Please retracts their statement about not being able to ship things for the foreseeable. But we'll get into that. So familiar faces first, and then we'll lean into our special guest. You know this guy. He's been ruffling some Vinyl Me Please feathers lately. We'll talk about that in the freestyle. His name and the channel, first of all, is Fidelios_frequency. His name is Arnaldo. What is the good word, sir?
Not much. Just holding my breath for those port workers strike so that I can get my Vinyl Me Please shipment.
Well, the domino has fallen, my friend. So we'll see what happens. And then the most controversial figure in the vinyl community, depends where you go and who you know. It's Jason Rojas. Jason, how are you?
Thanks for having me back, Concert Buddy. Let me just share Pitbull right here with a bear.
Oh my gosh, you got to make you big. Whenever you can see Pitbull is this at Bucky's? Is this at Walmart?
Here's a guy waiting in line for RSD.
Casual.
Look at this guy. It's like, hey, do you got that bear picture disc? Like, what? How big do you want that record? This big? Oh, man.
Wow. Well,
it looks like Walmart.
It is Walmart.
Whenever
He
you could
was
get
like-
an international superstar.
You know, he was like basically, do you have any Pitbull records at Walmart? They were like, no.
Did you saw a guy taking this many records out of Walmart?
Oh, and then that jokester, that funny guy. I think Jose Moreno. Ron, where are you right now? Are you in a horror movie? Where are you right now?
Yes, it's Halloween, so you know.
The calendar did change. So Jose, if there is somebody trying to break down your door with an axe, let us know. Feel free to get off of the stream. It's nothing more important in your life.
No, I just hate normal lighting. It's and I change this room every 2 days, so it's just I'm trying to make this my listening room, new part of the house.
Okay.
So it's 0% done, but brought one of the big fuckers outside. I brought it here for all the records, and I'm gonna fill it up, I guess.
All right. Well, if you're wondering if Jose could be a part-time vampire, I think you know the answer. We're doing this at night, so figure it out. And then, man, I'm excited. We've got a guest, and not just any guest. This guy is a podcast super duper star. From the podcast, Two Guys Talking About Records with Jim Gleason, owner of Radio Wasteland. It is the mayor, and this is the name I gave him, the mayor of the vinyl community, Steve Carlson. Steve, welcome to Surface Noise. How are you?
Fantastic, because I don't watch many podcasts because you have to keep my attention for over an hour, and that's that's very difficult to do. But I do watch this one.
Oh,
You guys do pretty good on sticking with stuff. So yeah, you're the one I watch.
Steve,
So excited to be here.
Excellent. And the check is in the mail for that excellent plug. And I'm already off of my sound effects. So thank you for the wonderful plug. Now real quick plug for Steve. Steve obviously is a YouTube superstar. And if you've never seen his channel on YouTube, the podcast, you can find it on, I think you're everywhere now, right? You're on Apple, Spotify, you got full distro, right?
Yep. iHeart, Facebook, YouTube. Yep.
Beautiful. So if you have a choice in podcast and you've already listened to Surface Noise or anything else on Vinyl Community Podcast, I encourage you to jump on over to Guys Talk. And it comes out Sundays, right? You guys drop stuff on Sundays?
It does. Yeah. Yep. It comes out Sunday evening whenever Jim gets it edited. I just go on and talk, and Jim does all the work. So yeah, it's real nice.
That's right. Jim is the talent. Jim is the worker bee, and Steve is the talent. He is the face that runs the place. If you couldn't tell.
There we go. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, good stuff. Good stuff. John Moreno is here. Hello, John. Welcome. And let's see. Oh, so Kendall says the nicest guy in the VC as he has been deemed, and that's true. Steve is on my personal Mount Rushmore of nicest guys. You've got Steve, you've got Felipe, you've got Nick Fantasy, and Melinda Murphy's there. But sometimes I think she's got a wild side. I don't think we've seen it just yet, but I think she will stab you if you are not careful. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but I would not put it past Melinda to cut somebody if there was a Van Halen record between them and her. So I'm just saying. All right, let's get into the real deal. What's up, Depeche Commode? How are you? So we've got a lot to cover. The first thing, and this was kind of our working topic, and then we'll kind of get into Record Store Day, Black Friday. That's what we call a small tease. As we're talking about box sets. And this is one reason I wanted to have Steve on, because I know Steve has a lot of box sets, and we'll get into it. But box sets, some would say is a great thing. Some would say is a not so great thing. There's pros and cons. Raise of hands. Does everybody have box sets on the dais? I assumed. I didn't want to jump to conclusions. Everybody... Box sets. Arnaldo, I know you've got box sets. And Rojas, I don't know if I saw them when I was at your place. Do you have box sets?
Yeah, they're in another box, so I had to open that box to get those box sets. So
I
you
see
don't
what you
see
did
them,
there.
but I'm ready for you. You know.
I see what you did there. So I'll kind of run through to some kind of working stuff I had, and let's just kind of dive into it. But obviously, if you're not familiar, box sets are obviously boxes that contain records, usually of one artist or one kind of theme. Sometimes it can be a full discography or a partial discography of an artist or band. Sometimes it's of a record label, like Vinyl Me Please has done, Metal Blade and Ghetto Records, stuff like that, anthologies, if you will. And so there's pros and cons from a cost perspective, from a convenience perspective, but then there's also from I'm running out of space, and these box sets are taking up a lot of space. So Steve, I'm gonna lead with you. Where do you land on box sets? Because obviously you've moved recently. And before that, you had a collection crisis, that a lot of folks probably know about. You lost a lot of records in the flood. We won't get into that, but you've had different iterations of your collection. But had box sets been a constant? And what do you think about box sets today?
I used to have, I would say, hundreds of box sets. Now, most of them were CD box sets. For those that were in Columbia Record Club in the 90s and the aughts, every year they would have in November the half price box set sale. And they would take all their box sets and throw them out half price. And I saved up all year for that. And I would just buy buttloads of them. And I loved them. And, they were really cool. I mean, there was some great stuff that came out. But after the whole flood, as I'm rebuilding, it's like, okay, I don't have as much room as I'm not going back to those two very large rooms I have. I've got a smaller collection. And I had to start, I really rethought box sets and a couple of things. First, they put in all these cool extras and there's neat, but how often do I ever go back and play them? Wow. Okay. So we have this special, it was one of their, the first times they got together and they played, these demos. I just don't go back to play it. I got other records to do. The other part, just the amount of room. But there was some stuff, like the band. The band had a box set because I got their whole discography. Clutch came out of box set. I got their whole discography. So certain bands, I would do that to collect it all. But otherwise, my favorite box sets, but I haven't brought them back, were those ones from Third Man Records, the Paramount box sets. They came in that one was in a metal case and the other one was in the wooden crate. God, those were cool. But how often did I listen to it? It looks cool. Anybody come over? Hey, look at this. But I just, how often are you into, say, God, tonight I want some 1910 blues going on because I want to jam. Didn't happen.
So Jason, you've been in this game a long time. Where do you land on box sets present day? Do you think there's a place in the hobby for these? I mean, obviously there is. They're selling a boatload, a butt ton, I think was the word I heard earlier. So they're selling them, and there's a lot of labels, and it's a easy thing for a lot of labels to just go back to the well and repress a bunch and put it in a box. And maybe there is some lost tracks. Maybe there is, like Steve said, there's some cool art. They've really put a real interesting aesthetic to it. Or there's color variants, those pesky color variants. So Jason, what do you think about box sets, and is it a good thing for the modern day collector?
Well, I have to agree with Steve. I think the box set started as something like collectible or something like demos, something worthwhile to, be purchased. Like a good example would be that Elvis Presley box set. I think that's one of the first big box sets that came out in the 90s. What I didn't know was that it actually came out on vinyl. Oh my gosh. And here it is.
Uh-oh.
Very beautiful, right? I mean, this was one of the early CD box sets. And yeah, it does have everything. Let me see if I can get closer. Everything that's probably been re-released or reissued now. I think the only cool thing was disc 6 with those like either live or demo performances. But I have to agree with Steve. Would I ever want to play this? It's 50-50, But I mean, the cool thing is it does have all these cool extras, I'm not sure if I want to drool over the Elvis pictures,
Now, how many? So that's 6 discs, right? And can you show us a side profile of that for the folks at home? So that's not too bad, right? Like 6 discs. That's a pretty narrow box. When you're talking about shelf space, that's not too inconvenient. Would you agree?
Right. I mean, but the CD I think was like the half. Like,
yeah.
If you can imagine and stuff like that. Right. So I mean, at the time, like the box sets when they came out, they were all trying to compile things and make it worthwhile, right? A bit extra, So early on, it wasn't necessarily like the cash grab that we have today, right? So like this would be a good value versus the cash grab value of this.
Oh, I have that one too. Yes, that one was at my ready.
So I'm guilty.
The Beatles,
right?
red and blue.
They said it was, half Speedmaster, but whatever. I think at this point, like most of it's all a cash grab,
Yeah.
And you wouldn't be surprised if they reissue each of the albums separately, right, to make even more money. So for Jose, I think he just went off, right?
No, I'm here. I'm here. I was just grabbing a box set.
Like,
Okay,
I
okay.
love this box set. I love this.
Yeah.
We got Velvet Underground. if you're
Right.
familiar.
This is like the loaded box set. The problem is, I think for the Rock October, they're releasing one of the albums from the box set, and these were all like numbered and limited. So I fell for the trap, you see, the
Mhm.
Rhino trap, So eventually they will release everything from here,
Yes.
Mhm.
and this isn't going to be worth it unless you love like that holographic whatever. Well, it's not holographic.
Yeah, it looks
it's
slick.
just
I
pretty,
mean,
you know.
but you raise a good point about Rhino. So was a year before last, Rhino did a Stevie Nicks box set. I got it for my wife. She's a big Stevie Nicks fan. They had 2 albums that had never been on vinyl before. Lost in Shangri-La, I think was one of them. I'm not a Stevie person, so I don't know the names. But 2 albums had only been on CD before. So this was the advertised at the time as the only way to get these on vinyl. So of course, goodbye $200 or whatever it was. Here comes a box set. Wife's happy. It's a great Christmas. Jason, to your point, less than 9 months later, or whatever it is, here's Rocktober, and here are those 2 albums now available by themselves. Maybe they're not clear vinyl or whatever the bells and whistles were. But to your point, funny how they just magically are no longer exclusive after 6, 9, 12 months.
But you got a box, Chance. I mean, that's cool. Look.
Fair enough. So Arnaldo, obviously in New York, I'm not trying to dox you, but you've said on this program before you're in New York. Space has got to be a consideration. So I mean, it's not like you could just have a whole wall of box sets. Where do you land on this? I mean, does it have to be something that is like a personal artist that you really care a lot about, or has it got to be like we've talked about Third Man, we've talked about some of these things we already hit on with the rest of the day. So where do you land on box sets, and do you think that box sets are a good idea for today's collector?
Well, when you visit, you'll see where they're all stacked. And and after what Steve said, I think I'm going to be like, I was thinking it's like just going around in my head. I think I should be clearing out a lot more space after what Steve said.
Steve, you've ruined Arnaldo for box sets forever. Congratulations.
All right.
But your question is, are box sets a good idea for collectors? If you're a collector, especially if you're a collector of a specific artist, like I am for certain artists, it does make sense. It brings you joy because whether you're a completist or because you have a specific album at heart, whatever makes you happy, right? Is every box set worth buying? Probably not. Most definitely not for many reasons. But I'm just going to show a couple where I think I enjoyed the idea of the box set coming out because I'm specifically a fan of this artist, one being David Bowie. And this was the Rock and Roll Star. So it's basically the road to Ziggy Stardust. And it has quite a few discs. This did not come out on vinyl because it probably would have been a 10 vinyl disc set. So I think it's 6 CDs as it is. And it has a lot of demos, some sessions at the BBC pertaining the Ziggy Stardust songs. It has a Blu-ray with all the audio in high def and I think also in some kind of form of surround. And it comes with 2 amazing books, which chronicle all of the details surrounding Ziggy Stardust. And if you love Ziggy Stardust, if that's your favorite album, if you love David Bowie, I could say definitely this is a purchase that you may want to look into because it's so well curated, not only from the music point of view, but also from, the books that are included. There's actually 2 books included. I won't take them out now. And then a band that didn't put out a lot of music. I think they only released 5 studio albums, and I want to say they're probably all must-haves for one reason or another. And I actually hesitated to buy this one. I streamed it first, and I actually found out that the demos and the alternate versions on the Police's Synchronicity box set are fantastic. There is actually also a live show included, and the live show is phenomenal. Hence why I decided to pull the trigger at a nice sale price on Amazon, because I love this album, and all of the additional material in this box set is definitely worthwhile. I chose a CD because there's more content on the CD. The vinyl box set, I think, has 4 albums, whereas this has, I think, six discs. Yeah, here it is.
Okay.
So, and that's for the collectors, right? And then we have the completists that all in one swoop want to buy everything that an artist put out. And the Kinks box set is a little jewel, all in mono, all analog, remastered by Jason's favorite mastering engineer. And they sound fantastic. They're
So, and although there may be some new people to the program, can you let people in on
Kevin Gray did the mastering on this box set.
Kevin Gray, Gray, Kevin Gray.
And for those of you that care about the collectability of certain items, this is a very collectible item. They only did one run, kind of like the Beatles in mono. And I believe that the individual albums were released separately after. And I should know this because they're actually distributed by BMG. I'm not sure that the single albums are still in print. I know. You have time for 2 more?
Yeah, flip them up. Let's go.
Okay. So I've told you guys how much I love David Sylvian. I already have everything by David Sylvian, but this, if you know how David Sylvian curates everything regarding everything he's released, the book alone is probably worth the purchase of the admission. He's been a stickler for artwork and loves, putting a lot of beautiful images and, chronicling perfectly his, probably didn't pick the most representative picture, his output. So, yeah, this has most of his later material when he had his own label. Yeah, so I'm a fan again, and that's why I justify the purchase of a box set. This was only released on CD, hence why it's a CD box set.
Got it.
And one more, last but not least, this will be a very quick one because I can't hold it up for too long because it's massive. Prince's Sign of the Times.
Wow, yeah.
This has so much unreleased material. If you're a Prince fan, if you're a casual Prince fan, probably not. You're not getting, what is it? I think it's a 10 LP set. I think it is, right? Yeah. But it has so much unreleased materials. Sting had so much stuff in the, Prince had so much stuff in the vaults that maybe at one point it'll all see the light of day. But so for now, the estate is giving us these mega box sets one at a time.
Mega box.
What's that?
I should not just like the word mega box set.
Well, yeah, when you're talking about, I don't know, I forgot how many are in here. There's probably like,
yeah, it looks mad. I remember seeing that at the store.
there are 13 albums in here. So,
Wow.
yes, that's why. And that's it. No, shut up.
Do you know when you showed your Bowie, this came out in 2016.
Oh, now we've got a flex off going on right now.
I have that. Ready to go pull it off the shelf?
Well,
guys,
I'm just saying, right,
this is
like,
not an appendage measuring situation. Okay, I know all about this. let's not go there. Okay.
But I'm just saying, what
Arnaldo,
I'm saying is they reused it for that box set,
Yeah, probably some of the sessions, at least the songs that pertain to the Ziggy Stardust era,
Yeah.
are probably carried over onto there, and probably the ones that pertain to Hunky Dory were on the previous box set that came out last year.
What's up with that Looney Tune-esque fucking font they use for that Bowie box set that Jason had?
You like this,
Some
right?
piece of shit.
Jose's cage. You can't. Steve, what were you going to answer Ronaldo real
I was
quick?
going to say, my very first box set I ever bought in the 80s was David Bowie's Sound and Vision.
Oh, that's a good
Yeah,
one.
I mean, and it was like this huge investment at the time. Oh man, can I afford that? But it was like, wow, a box set. But they weren't around. I mean, barely anybody. That was to me one of the first box sets I ever remember
Right.
seeing.
I think they started off in the 90s because they were starting to reissue CDs. There you go. They were
Is it a
reissuing
lightsaber?
CDs, and the initial concept of the box set on the CD was to compile their how do you say it, the entire discography into like chronicling like a history and an expanded best of. That's where all those Elvis came from. The first Sound and Vision came from that. So yeah, then we've moved on to like entire discography, and now we're exploding all of these one albums to like include everything, every note that was played during that period.
I just pre-ordered the Talking Heads 77. They're starting on Talking Heads now, and that's going to suck me in. I just know it. And, I don't want to be sucked in, but I love the Talking Heads.
And to piggyback on Sound and Vision that Jason just held up, when it came out, there was a version that was included in like it was a wooden box that had, I think, the front was like that, but I think it was made of glass or hard plastic. But it was a wooden box with a clasp and a certificate inside signed by David Bowie. They were all numbered and signed by David Bowie. And at the time, it was $400.
Wow.
We're talking 92, 93?
Wow, so that's fat stacks now.
$400 at the time was like ridiculous.
So that's where George Harrison the estate got those ideas.
But you got David Bowie's signature, I think, was real, but instead of getting gnomes and scarves and
carpet fabric, fibers.
Well, dice. What else was in the Pink Floyd box sets?
Yeah. So Jose, I know you're chomping at the bit, and I appreciate it because Jose is ready. And you went off camera. Tell us about box sets because we've already touched on a lot. What? I mean, you've got to have some box sets to show us, of course. But where do you stand on box sets for the modern day collector?
I like them. I try not to buy everything and anything that gives me like an interest. I sometimes I'm the devil's advocate for my own self. So most of the times I end up not getting the box set, especially when they're like discographies or stuff like that. It depends on how rare the records are. If I like what they're doing, if I already have some, I'm not gonna buy them. If I only have I'm missing out like 2 or 3, I'm not gonna buy them. But I'll show you some of my favorites.
Okay.
Right. So this came out like 2 years ago or something like that. So this is the UK band called Nirvana, not to be confused with the the guy that X'd himself, but this beautiful UK band that I love. It's a very hard to get band in any format, and it has not been like reissued. Well, some records are being reissued now, but it hadn't been. And it came with a nice booklet and all the records. Actually, they're all analog except 2 records. So if you're into like psychedelic stuff, and they did like a beautiful job with the book, and which I thought was pretty, was that for such an obscure band, it came signed as well. So I think that's pretty great. And it started people, rediscovering them. I used to collect those records in CD when I was younger, because I saw a record called Nirvana and it was not Kurt Cobain, so I was like, I want this, and it was pretty cool. I like box sets when they do multiple artists or just a single genre, or maybe like a specific label. You know, I like that. I think that most of the times the prices are dumb as fuck. I think there are cool box sets that doesn't need that. So one of my favorite labels that do like discographies but are not horrible price is Numero Uno, Numero Group. Sorry. And I love this. This is a Duster one, and they're all tip-on jacket, and they're all beautiful. And they did the EPs as well. So these were EPs, and they added songs to them. This is one of the studio records, and this is the other EP and singles. They put stuff into them, and I actually enjoy them. I will say that if you keep like for certain records that you have a lot of records in the box set, I would always suggest having them outside of the box set. Just keep the boxes in the like on top of your shelf or something, but don't actually like keep them there, because that's why you never listen to them, because you don't want to go into the hassle of like taking it out and taking the fucking George Harrison gnomes outside of the box set, because it's a horrible hassle, right? So I would say keep them outside. It does make it take more space, right? But I think it's nice. I actually think Rhino from all the like reissue labels are actually Vinyl Richie's here. I love that.
Yeah, we got a shout out the goat. This is Vinyl Richie says.
Shut the fuck up, man. Right, but this I think Rhino does a great job, like doing beautiful stuff. For example, this didn't have to be a double record. It was originally a single record, but it was all crammed up, and they did a beautiful release. And I think it sounds better than I have always listened to it. They normally do like the LP and a bunch of CDs. So this has the CD, and it has a live record, and it has like demos, work in progress, singles, and stuff like that, and encores from like shows, and it has a DVD. I like that. Sometimes they don't do it in the right way. For example, this Replacements, the vinyl version that comes here, it's actually the remixed, and the actual original version of the album is only on CD in the box. So I thought that was a little shitty. But I am looking forward to the Talking Heads one. I just went to see the Talking Heads at the movie theater because it was released here like a few 2 days ago, and it brought a lot of joy. And I pre-ordered the thing, and I'll show something nobody showed here. It's a box set, a cassette box set.
Oh, man,
Allen Ginsberg. Yeah, this is Allen Ginsberg, my favorite poet, and this is a box set. Came out with a little booklet, and it had all the cassettes inside. You can see there. It actually has some great photos that I have never seen before. One, it's Arthur Russell standing out with the cello. It was one of his, you could call lovers, and also like a collaborator. And one of the songs they just released from the Talking Heads box set is Psycho Killer with Arthur Russell playing the cello. So I thought that was really nice and different. So I like all the old formats. I enjoy them, but I don't buy them if I don't intend to listen to them. And you shouldn't either, because I think it's a bunch waste of time, money, and space. And they do look nice on the shelf.
Yeah.
Take them out, leave the box and with all the goodies and the patches and the shirts, and take the records and put them next to it. I know there's stuff like Arnaldo. I didn't bought the I had the small version of the Prince, and I sold it, which was like what, 3 or 4 records still, but 10 records, it was way too much. The Stooges sessions for Funhouse as well,
Well,
Allen Ginsberg talks too much, motherfucker. He was a poet. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, Richard's coming in hot. So before we close up this topic, so yeah, I think we found some commonality in what we're talking about. The pros, obviously, convenience of getting a whole bunch of albums from an artist at once, as opposed to trying to piecemeal these exclusives, and it's ready made for the completist. But I think in terms of cons, like Steve said earlier, space. Like, I mean, these things are space eaters. I know Jason showed that Elvis one at the beginning, but now, I mean, these things. I mean, I got the Miles Davis "Follow Me Please," right? I mean, this thing. I mean, if you're changing your tire, I mean, this is the thing to put under your vehicle, because this thing it's fat and stacked, and it's fat and stacked in the wrong ways. But it feels like the box sets they're making now are a lot wider. I don't know if it's to give perceived value. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. But yes, Arnaldo, please weigh in on this one.
Are you done? I just want to do something to close and wrap this up.
Yes, please. Let's put a bow, as they say, BOW. Yes.
No, I don't want to rush you, but I have the perfect ending.
Oh my God, go for it.
Does this qualify as a box set?
So, Arnaldo, can you tell our visually impaired folks what you're holding up? And
It is a MoFi one step of Eagles Hotel California, which probably could hold about 5 records in it. It only has 2, with some foam, right? And
some phone stackers.
Does this
and
qualify as a box set, or is
question.
this just a record?
Jason had to walk off the screen. He's so just disgusted in what just happened there.
Steve
Carlson, what do you think? Is that a box set, one steps with their?
Well, I do have the one step, and the UHQ are sitting with the box sets. They're all together. You know, it's harmony. Gotta live in harmony.
Yeah, well, I think it goes back to that perceived value, though, because those are some high price tag things, and like Arnaldo said, those one steps have some of the most choice foam inserts that you've probably ever seen. Like, I don't know if you can smoke them or if you can like sleep on them, but the foam, it is chef's kiss.
It was mentioned about Rhino doing a really good job with box sets, and I would agree. My 3 favorite in the world came from Rhino, the CD ones, the punk one, Left of the Dial, and Children of the Nuggets. I have bought more albums because of these box sets, because you listen, it's all these groups you didn't hear about, you didn't know about, and the underground groups, and they've cost me hundreds and hundreds of dollars. In fact, I still mine through these to find these groups that I don't know about, but I love the songs on here. And Rhino just did these. To me, were phenomenal. They're by far my most played box sets.
So before we put a true bow on this, we'll go around real quick. I got to read this comment, though, because this is tremendous. Elk Vision says, if this podcast was a box set, so follow me with this. If this podcast was a box set, Steve is the unreleased bonus tracks. Jose is the original uncensored cover. I mean, brilliant. I like it. I like what you did there.
And Arnaldo and Jason is what you already have, and you didn't need to buy the box set for it.
Yeah, and Concert Buddy is the bargain bin. You can wait like 3 months, and then you can get it for literally 4.
Hype sticker. You're the hype sticker.
I'm the hype sticker. Good call, Jose.
I will say that there are great labels that only release box sets. I just want to say that shout out to the now almost dying Vinyl on Demand, which is one of the greatest labels out there for reissuing. They just put out their last box set, and they're releasing something else later this year. But it was a great experimental box set, some very underrated stuff from around the world. They put out even Mexican and Latin American experimental music. And all of them were in huge fucking boxes. I'm talking like actual wooden boxes that you had to open it like this.
Sure.
And had like books and shirts and records you've never seen in your life. So I think there's great labels doing it. I do agree that sometimes it's the most boring ones is when you have like only one record, because you really have to love the record, but also have like the mental want to, like, for example, I was doubting myself to buying that Talking Heads, but the B-sides and the live things is what, because I love the Talking Heads, how they sound live. That's why I'm buying it, because to be honest, that's not my favorite Talking Heads record. And so, but I love that they're doing that live thing, and the B-sides just sound interesting. But yeah, for when it's only one thing, like for example, that Prince, you really have to fucking want to dig into that because I would probably like, even for me that I love the Stooges, I don't know if the Funhouse sessions I would have listened to it more than once. You know.
Well, the difference between the Prince and the other box sets, Prince's box set has so many unreleased tracks. We're not talking about different versions, not talking about demos. There are a plethora of stuff of songs that were never released. So
Yeah.
I think
From the vaults.
from the vault.
Right.
I hope that since I know everybody knows that now, but Pink Floyd just sold their Image, Likelihood. Pink Floyd, if I could have all members that are still alive in front of me, I would like slap me in the fucking head.
Oh my God! Hang on. We don't slap anyone around here.
Because I think that all of them, because they hate each other so much, they're one of the most bootlegged bands ever, and they never fucking released anything. Even when they did the Dark Side of the Moon live thing, there were still like other tracks from that show, like a huge version of Echoes that they didn't release. So I hope by doing this, they start doing like bootleg sessions and stuff like that, and they finally release Live at Pompeii. You know, like beautiful 2-record set and some weird stuff. Because they're a band that recorded a lot, and there's documentation that they recorded a lot, and there's a lot of box sets signaling that, but they never release anything. So I hope they start doing, even if they do go to the box set route, I hope they actually release something interesting.
So let me ask you a question. We'll put a bow on this topic for real this time.
Yeah.
Obviously, space is a consideration, especially if you've got a ton of records, right? I think most of us here have a ton of records. Do you guys ever fall for the trap of, and well, again, we'll talk on By All Means Please in a little bit, but it's a really good deal. And you can kind of talk yourself into picking up, like I said, these box sets. Sometimes I've been snake bit by, I bought it right away at release, full MSRP, and then literally a week, 2 weeks, maybe a month, that thing's down 40% already on Amazon or wherever, and it just feels like a savate kick to the junk, right? So do any of you guys get caught up in the pricing thing to almost kind of talk it like you like it, but you don't like it at the price, but then all of a sudden it's discounted and you're like, and then you kind of talk yourself into it. Steve, I saw you laughing there. Do you find yourself in this folly sometimes?
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, and I've been on the other end too. I go, what the hell was that about? I just got screwed.
Right.
You know, but no, I watch if it goes down. Yes. You know, you can you're a record collector. You can justify any freaking thing you want. You know, it just doesn't matter. Oh, yes, there's a reason. Yeah.
I mean, when the price is right, when it's, let me see if I can show it here. When it's 50%
yes,
off.
I fell for it too. I got you.
Do not hesitate, right? Do not.
Yeah, that's worth having.
Yeah, that's great. I have that.
So, Jason, what are you holding up there for our Visually Challenge?
This is the box set of After the Gold Rush, Neil Young 50th anniversary. It's slim, right? It has like the album remix and of course a 7-inch single, but what they were asking for originally wasn't the right price, right?
It was like what, 100? It was 100, right? Ballpark. Yeah.
But at 50% now.
Oh, hang on. I wish I was downstairs. I'd show mine too. We've got some more appendage contests here. Jose now has one. Jason has one. Jose, did you pay full price? Tell me no.
No, somebody gifted me it a little later after it got released, and
did it have a red 50% off sticker like Jason's did? Was that?
It was like in US dollars. It was like $40 when I bought it.
Yeah. See, and that. Yeah.
Don't you ever wonder though when it says limited and it goes for 50% off, and you go, "What is it?"
Well,
yeah.
have you seen how many? We'll talk about it. Little hint of what we're going to talk about later. But when you see that limited and you see the Record Store Day limited edition, and it's 25,000 records or some shit like that,
Yeah.
questionable. I think that over 5,000, it shouldn't be considered. Because even big labels now don't even
nowadays Nowadays, well, it depends on the artist, right? Depends on the
Of
artist.
course, but you
But,
know what I
yeah.
mean.
20,000 is not limited. I don't care. I mean, maybe if you're Taylor Swift, it's limited. But
Well, Taylor Swift, we'll talk about it later, but props to her because the fan base, they even import stuff from China. So when that Chinese tariff comes to work, Taylor Swift fans gonna be fucked up. That's what I'm saying. Man.
So David Nelms is here, a good friend of the program. He says, I'm not a big fan of box sets, but I do appreciate a box that focuses on one album. Arnold, here we go. And includes numerous other tracks focusing on that album. So I think there's room for it. But yeah, to your point, like Jason showed 50% off, let's call it 40, $50 versus a one step, 125, a UHUR 150. Now, obviously, there's more to those value price propositions. But
There's a certificate to it.
there's a certificate. There's some promotional materials. There's a faux autograph. I mean, there's a lot to that. But
There's a print.
and it's funny, and we'll put a bow on box sets, I promise. But my two favorite box sets, I didn't haul them up here because they're massive. And I like when artists do this, even though it is like very space cumbersome. So Weird Al, probably about 2016, his whole discography, even a lot of albums, a lot of albums that were never released on vinyl still haven't been. To his credit, he didn't release never on vinyl and then 2 months later doing on vinyl. And it's in a faux accordion. Fantastic. Like, it is amazing. I bought it secondhand, and it's awesome. And then I think it was the Ozzy Osbourne box set. Let's call it 2015. Brandon's still here. I think he finally got one. Came with a COA, so he's got an autograph. It came with a flexi disc. So there was some extra. And then again, a lot of albums never on vinyl before, even though they did do No More Tears coming out of that. So when it's right, it's like I say about vinyl, be pleased. When it's right, it's right. And when it's not, it's not. And I think if you take anything from this conversation, just do your due diligence. Don't fall for that trap. Don't walk into the ground and there's that hole and you got your legs stuck in it. Do your due diligence. And as Jason always preaches, patience. Because there's, I mean, can you guys recall of a box set ever selling out at launch and then never being available again, like ever?
the Beatles mono.
Well, but they were selling it at Costco at the time. Had you had
But they did that run and that's it.
yeah.
Now people are ponying up upwards of like 1,500
That's
for
fair.
it, and they
So-
never released the albums separately after the initial run, so they went out of print.
So part of the motivation, whoops, I didn't want that one. Part of the motivation for this topic, to be honest with you, is I don't know if you guys saw this, but it's the 20th anniversary of How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb by U2. And here it comes. They are doing a deluxe 2-discer. So 2 discs, $54.99 retail. And then, yes, an 8-disc box set of the album. Then they also include a live performance from Chicago, which, there's a DVD about it, etc. And this is about 300. 300.
Really?
And I saw this, and I like you too, and I like that album. But I saw this, and it was the first time I can remember ever being like, "Oh hell no!" Like, no way on earth. So
I will say that one of the most famous bands that have cheap box sets, it's Black Sabbath, because that Anno Domini box set of records that I know no one here bought except me, it was $100 and it was 5 fucking records, and that's great. Because I think that, for example, the Beatles one that's coming out, it's a piece of fucking shit, the price. I think no one should pay for that bullshit of a price.
Jose, tell us what you really feel. Don't hold back.
I literally can pick those records for like $30 here. I don't know. But I will say that sometimes I feel like, especially when there are bands as big as the Beatles, I don't know how many box sets they're doing, but how many do you think they're doing? More than 30,000?
Of course.
Right? Like mega Chad type numbers. And I feel like, for how much price is it? $400? How much is the
Sounds
US?
right. 354. Yeah, sounds like right. Yeah.
Yeah. For like 6 records of how many are, I think that's a little too much.
It's a little much. And
To go back on the U2, aren't they redoing the album, like reimagining it?
Yeah, there's a lot of that marketing buzzword stuff. And in fact, I think this is a great segue because we're going to talk about first impressions about the RSD Black Friday, which It's called To Reanimate or Reassemble an Atomic
Right.
Bomb. I think that is they're carving off that for Record Store Day, which we'll get into.
So that's not even included in the box set.
I don't believe so. Again, I saw the price. I saw a couple of the things, and the value price proposition just did not hit me. So real quick, we'll transition here. Michael Nolan, last word on this topic. He said, I just took delivery of the Revolver box set. That will be my last one. Well, after I get the White Album in Abbey Road and Let It Be, etc. So this spoken like a true record collector, Michael.
I mean, if
Good to
you're
see
going to make a box set, make it worthwhile, right? That's the point. So this is the Smile, the Beach Boys box set, and I know you can't see it, but this is like a window right here, and then
Yeah,
there's
it's
the
fun. It's
characters.
fun.
It's fun. This is great. You know.
Can you
Look how
open
big
that?
this is. Like,
Can
this
you
is-
open that?
I don't have the one that you can open, but
All right.
the one that you could open has a light switch, and then you turn it on, and then
Oh, nice.
the lights come on. That one's worth a lot of money.
How many records is that?
I think it was only 2 records and 6 CDs, I think, or 8 CDs. So
That's a
like
lot.
this-
To be honest.
Yeah, this was like a mega box set, you know.
mega box. There's the
Mega.
word again, huh? There's the word again. Huh?
Mega, not MAGA, mega. Let's be clear.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Let's not go there. All right.
Because
So I think
these are the non-mega, right?
yeah, if there's an
Imagine
opposite word for mega, I think Arnaldo just held up a great example of that. All right, so we beat up box sets enough. I think it was a good conversation, guys. Now, second part for the pod, and we'll run over a little bit because this is kind of breaking news. I don't have the DD, but the Record Store Day Black Friday 2024 list came out yesterday. And I don't want to say what I'm going to say. I'll let everybody kind of speak on it first. We're not going to get deep on it. We'll do that in a future show, I'm sure. But the question that first came to mind is the juice worth the squeeze? So Arnaldo, I'll start with you this time. You saw the list. I'm sure you got the alert. You instantly stopped whatever you're doing because this is a world-changing announcement. And you comb through the list. You're just so excited. You're frothing. You've got a little froth going on at the corners of your mouth. Where did this list land for you?
Worse than last year.
Oh no!
Oh wow!
Oh no,
Worse
Arnaldo,
than
that was not
Black
the answer.
Friday.
Are you comparing to Black Friday's Record Store
Black
Day or
Friday.
just
Black Friday.
Oh, so you're
I don't
going
even
bell to bell, Black Friday to Black Friday. Okay.
Well,
all right.
actually, yeah. Well, last year I only picked up one record. Probably a month later, or maybe maybe I got a couple records.
I don't
and that's
remember
what I'm getting this year. I don't know. There's a lot of live stuff, a lot of colored, a lot of picture, a lot of I don't know.
Well, Steve,
And here's the interesting thing.
Oh,
You know,
sorry, go
I
ahead.
got the Beatles mini turntable that came
Oh
with
yeah,
with the
sucker.
case, and it came with like the 5 3-inch vinyl thingies.
Yes.
It's more of a collector piece, and I'm reading the release of the 3-inch that is coming out, right? Because they're doing one, and it says it includes also a carrying case. Are they ridiculous that now I'm going to have another carrying case for just one record?
Carrying
Maybe
case
the-
of a carrying case.
maybe the press release wasn't written correctly, but from what I understand, it's one record in like a little carrying case, which I have from the previous one because the previous came with like a little carrying case. So
have you bought all those 3? Did you have a 3-inch player before?
no, it's the whole thing. It's the box.
No, I know, but did you had a 3-inch player before? Because they
Yes,
released.
I did have the other one too. I had the Doors one
And have you bought like the
and,
back
and
the
the
base
Third Man one.
Is it the only time they release 3-inch?
Typically,
Like
yeah.
around the year, did they release like?
It's only Record Store Day or Black Friday. That's when they usually come out with these 3-inch things.
Do you have the white stripes one?
Yeah, that was the first one that came out, I think.
All right, that's the.
Cheddar.
I don't know. I mean, again, back to Steve. How many times am I going to play it?
Yeah. So Steve, I was
They're
going to ask you
definitely not high-fi.
Well, you can flip. You can flip it once.
one time and make.
Yeah,
something
but
better.
here's the kicker. It was supposed to be limited edition for Record Store Day, the Beatles one, and now it's like on their website.
Everywhere.
I mean, come on.
Now at Big Lots, the Beatles. Yeah, you'll get it.
I mean, come on.
Steve Carlson. So you guys are going to talk about this little tease on two guys talking about records, the podcast with Jim coming up. So I don't want to take too much of that thunder, but you saw the list. You're obviously a proponent of going supporting local independent record stores. The question I'm going to ask you is a targeted one. Does this make you want to jump out of bed even earlier than your normal wake-up call to get some of these titles?
Well, since I get up at 4 a.m., I used to be when I was at 4 a.m. for record store day, I was first in line. Now, what are you, number 5,000 in line?
Right.
I mean, it's kind of nuts. I will say this about the list. They're trying to make a list for everybody, because there's so many different collectors, so many different ages. How do we bring everybody in? It is Black Friday, so there isn't as much. There were a couple things on here. And I mean, I was head over heels when I saw Paul Ngozi. They're releasing his first album from 76. And Zamrock, man, I've never seen Zamrock put on record store day. So that had me excited. And Bluey, a 7-inch of Bluey. Woo! Yes, I got a grandson. He's crazy about Bluey. I will have Bluey, damn it. It will be mine.
So don't get in Steve's way or he will cut you if you're in line.
That's right. Get out of there. I'm getting that
straight up
damn
hurt
thing.
you.
But
Yeah.
otherwise, Charlie Patton, but yeah, there's a lot of comps of Charlie Patton, so I'd have to see the price on that. I mean, Important Blues, Bobby Gass, and what was there? Oh, and Angelo Bellamente taking a bunch of his, or whatever stuff from soundtracks. I think that would be cool. There's not a lot on here I needed though. Ramones' greatest hits for the first time on vinyl. It says exclusive. Is it? Is it really?
Thank you.
It'll be on red vinyl, and then we'll bring it back on clear. Yeah,
I like it.
So
Rojas, what about this? I know that you, like Arnaldo and me, your world stopped you skipped a heartbeat when this list came out, and then you saw it. And did it upset your stomach, or did you just print it out and then throw it straight in the trash? Tell us about it.
I didn't get the announcement until I think you or Arnaldo shared me the link, and then I started laughing so hard. That's what happened, right? So like this one, the Billie Eilish isolated vocals only. I don't know about this. Maybe you
show
can
how
play
many,
along, right?
Show how many copies they're making, because that's the one that I was like.
There we
laughing
go,
at.
2,500.
20?
No, 25,000.
1,000, yeah, 1,000.
So Steve, is that as many people as on the island of Guam? We were talking about Guam earlier. I think every citizen in Guam can get a copy of this.
I think so.
Well,
I mean, this one's even worse. You could already buy Guts Spilled, but maybe you need that
30,000 copies.
Ooh,
that's
have you guys
Asia
noticed?
number. That's
noticed
Asia number.
it says RSD first release, meaning that it's probably going to come out again.
Oh, of course.
I mean, the one that's even, I would prefer this one. This one will be a Flipper's Paradise, 2,500. They broke up. This is
Jane's
it.
Addiction. So yeah, this is a 12-inch single. Imminent Redemption. Very
and
topical in the news.
If you can share CJ comment, this one,
Can you highlight Music Talk with John? That's a great observation right there.
Hang on, Music Talk with John, friend of the show, says that Billie Eilish spoken word.
It's a spoken word album. Yeah, it is.
Yes, and the professor is here. I'm sorry, I threw it up earlier, but the prof is here. He says, I am super excited for this year's obligatory live Bill Evans. ... Not. He says
that is
not.
true.
It's I actually bought like two of those. Like there's Bill Evans and there's only like other two artists they do jazz wise, and there's always a Nico one. I was surprised they didn't have one.
Wait, is there a Miles Davis? Because Miles Davis, I think they've exhumed the corpse, they have sucked everything out, and then they put it back face down, and now they're still pulling things out. Steve,
there's also no Dio picture disc, and I think that is just a crime against humanity.
It is.
Where's Dio picture disc?
But
they run out.
There is Rolling Stones only 10,000 version. It's like $100 each. It's like the easy $1 million. So I'm happy about that one.
I think people are jumping out the windows, Jose, with that information that you're sharing with them.
It's the live one. It's the live one. I will say, I don't know if it's my turn or not. Yeah, that one.
Oh no, go for it, Jose.
All right. Look. My view of Records 30-day lists have always
Jose,
been,
I'm gonna make you big. This is a teachable moment, as we like to say. So hold, please. All right, Jose, educate the record collectors out there.
it's just my opinion, I guess. But as long as I can have at least one or two titles that I'm interested in, I'm more than happy about it. You know, that's what I will say. So for me, there's two records that I absolutely want, and then there's one title that I'm always baffled that they keep putting out on Record Store Day because I never seem to find them. The first of all, it's a live record by Modest Mouse, which I was a big fan growing up, and I still have nostalgia for them. It's this one. I'll show here I'll show my phone, right? Because I don't have the fucking. It doesn't exist on vinyl. So this first time.
Hang on, Jose. Is that a unicorn you just flashed?
Yes. Yes. So this is called Varon Bone Bullshit Writes Again. It's a live record by Modest Mouse. There's a really great part where somebody screams, "Play Freebird," and he says, "Did Jose have a lobotomy?"
No,
Jose,
are you taking strays on this? Vinyl Richie is relentless on the Jose.
well, fucking being day drinking since like 1 o'clock. So, anyways, what I will say is I'm happy they're releasing it. There's somebody made like a late bootleg of that, and it sells for more than $200. So I'm happy that they're releasing like officially, and I'm happy about that one. The Scarlett Johansson one that nobody wants except me, that was going to be released.
Now, Jose, that's not true. Her parents are excited to pick this up. It's the first time on vinyl, I believe.
Second time.
Second time on vinyl, and her husband Colin Jost, I believe, will be first in line at was it Academy Records in New York? I think he's going to be there. So get an autograph if you can.
But is it really happening this time? Wasn't it?
Yeah. It is
for like Records Store Day in April.
Well, it's a good record. It's very like it's Tom Waits covers, and it's only Tom Waits covers, and she did it back in I don't remember when it was 2002, 2005, something like that. And I think it's very pretty. It's very poppy, lo-fi-ish. She was not that famous. I mean, she was, but not as after the Marvel stuff and everything. So she's a good singer. She was even nominated for an Oscar once for a documentary song she did with what's the violinist name? I forget. Chris Bell. I don't know. But I think it's pretty good. There's a song record that they've been putting out Record Store Day releases for a little while. This is the one they're putting out. It's called the Black One. There's a white one, and then this is the black one. Some 3 titles that I won. I'm happy with it. I don't need anything else. I don't need to.
But Jose, you raise an interesting point because you are not from this country.
Yes.
I'm just calling it a spade. So how are you going to? Because we see this. There's a new channel out there. I want to give a quick plug to. This gentleman's name is Normeen Maslove, and he says that I think I bought a title or 2 for Jose a few years ago. So is this international smuggling? What's going on here, Jose?
He helped me get one, and I'm very grateful for that. And I told him like 20 times because not all the titles come here. Sometimes I have to buy them like a day or 2 afterwards. Some are more difficult to get, but like the normal stuff does get here. So I might get one of those titles here. Hopefully, at least the.
And where do they sell them? HEBs or where can you pick them up in your area?
Record stores. You know, I have a friend here that has a record store. There's another record store here that has Record Store Day. There's like 3 or 4, which I think it's healthy amount of record stores that have Record Store Day titles. Not all of them have. For example, Mexico has specific Record Store Day titles they put out. Normally, it's only Sony that puts out like box sets or like regional stuff, right? But they put out interesting stuff that most of the times have never been released on vinyl. I have I've gone to Texas. I've gone to Austin to buy records. I horribly went once to get some Adam Sandler records.
Oh no, we can't listen. Listen, we don't. No, we got to cut. We got no Adam Sandler records on this one. We heard that one.
But I did travel to Texas just to get that one.
That's right.
And when I got there, the owner, well, not the owner, but the manager or whatever, she tells me that no one has bought a single copy of the Adam Sandler record, and they discounted that record the same day because they order like 40 or whatever, right?
So I'm going to paint a picture for you. Here's Jose. He's been walking because he didn't take a bus. He walked through the desert.
Definitely
took he shows up. You can see him in the horizon. So take a walk with me. He's walking in the horizon, and the poor, was it Waterloo? I think you told the story. It was Waterloo.
Yes, Waterloo.
Waterloo has 40 copies of Adam Sandler record, and they're like, "What are we going to do? We're going to have to just close up shop. We've opened too big a line of credit, and we haven't sold a one." And here comes this masked man in the horizon. You hear the triumphant music, and here he comes, Jose Moreno Ron. He's like, "I've come for one record.
I crossed the border for this," I told him.
I crossed the border. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, see, this is exactly. Picture this sunset, and here's Jose. Jose has traveled long and far to get the Adam Sandler debut comedy record. They're all going to laugh at you. Is that? I believe that was the one.
That's one. Yeah, that's one. Yes.
I don't have any Western music, but Jose, that's what I'm picturing. Am I pretty close in my reinterpretation of the story?
Yeah, that's yeah. Although, what do you call those haystacks rolling in the?
Yeah. There was tumbleweeds. There was tumbleweeds. There was Walter White and the execution in the desert. You just had to turn your head and keep walking because Adam Sandler was on your mind, and you would have got it.
Yeah, but interestingly, no, I went for all this stuff, but that was like the one that I really wanted. Yeah, that one. Yeah. What the hell happened to me? Which I think it's a great. It has a piece of shit car, which is a great song. It has the Hanukkah song, which I play.
Well, that's the second one. You got the first one though, the orange cover, right?
Yeah, I have both. Yeah.
Oh, completist. Adam Sandler completist, everybody.
Well, no, because Vinyl Me Please actually will transition right for the other subject, but Vinyl Me Please put out the Hanukkah record, the movie, which I play every Hanukkah season. So and today is Shana Tova.
Rosh Hashanah, right there it is. They're all going to laugh at you. See, I knew what I was
Chag Sameach to anybody that celebrate. Happy New Year. But anyways, I think that it's interesting. But if I have 2 titles or 3 titles that I'm buying for Record Store Day, that's more than enough for me. I don't need to have 15 titles. I barely have. I'm not gonna buy like 20 titles on Record Store Day. So if there's only 2 records I need and they're already here, I'm gonna buy them. I've never bought the Dio picture discs, or the Cure picture disc. They can go fuck themselves.
Oh my gosh.
I will say that
Jose, I don't know if you know this. I put you next to Steve for a reason because Steve's middle name, it's Steve Carlson, but the middle name is Mr. Picture Disc. So it's Steve, Mr. Picture Disc Carlson, and you are literally offending his bread and butter. I can't believe you're doing that.
No, I have the Snoopy picture that's worth like $100 now.
Oh.
But
well, Steve, what are you gonna say, Steve?
Well, I say here's the problem when it comes to this Record Store Day. So I have like maybe 2, 3 things I want to buy. Bluey, of course, because
naturally
it'll be death if I don't get Bluey. But then you watch the videos, and then everyone's going on about it. Then you walk in, and then you just start grabbing other crap, and suddenly you go in for 2, and you come out with like 10 or 12, and then you get home and you go, "What did I do? What the hell happened here?" You know,
they got me again.
You get into Record Store Day zone and you're just grabbing. It doesn't matter what's in your bank account. You just kind of screw that and you just start pulling stuff. Then you get back and then everyone starts showing these other ones that they say are better than what you got, and you go, "Oh man, I bought the sucky stuff or what?" Yeah, it's a tough thing, Record Store Day.
Steve, you're hitting on so many topics about influencers and the YouTube pull and yeah, I mean, and children's.
Damn YouTube vinyl community. Damn them all.
My suggestion for anybody is go and buy the titles you actually want, but also support the store by buying some other stuff in the store. You
Yeah.
know, sometimes they have most stores release good stuff that's not record store day released, so people actually go and get pricey stuff at good prices. So
Well, Richard S. hits it right on the money. The Visa bill comes and the shit hits the fan. I think that is the unofficial statement or theme of Record Store Day, either Black Friday or the spring one. Arnaldo and Jason, before we wrap this one up and we close the pod and go into the freestyle, don't go anywhere. I'm just curious, what was there at least one title you're like, okay, I will maybe not get up early, but I will try to hunt that title. Arnaldo, I'll start with you.
You know, I browsed through the list and I made a mental note and I forgot already. that's how important and essential it is, because I have been seeing titles that I thought were going to sell out at Record Store Day, and I go to Newberry Comics, I go to other stores, and they're still there. They're still hanging around. You know, then you have the Gandalf that you thought was only an exclusive, then it comes out like 3 months later. So I'm like, am I really in a rush to get these?
Good point.
Jason Rojas, please tell us, for the sake of all Record Store Day collaborators, curators, and NEaters, was there one title you're like, yeah, I'll probably grab that one?
Maybe, just maybe.
Wait a second.
Just maybe.
Wait a second. What are we
is
showing?
that a 10-inch?
Bill Collins, Live from the Board, 10-inch EP, Rhino,
It's a 10-inch.
because you got to get that live version of Susu Studio, Easy
Oh
Lover.
my
Wait,
goodness.
it's a 10-inch of two
B-sides, separate lives, the ballad, right, to make you just gag. And then My Girl, is that the Temptations, I think? Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I don't think they've made enough, Jason. I'm worried that 3,000 is
Holy Santa Claus shit.
That's right, Ron Burgundy. I can't believe that they've done this. Unbelievable.
There you go.
Well, Jason, I hope you get it. I truly, truly, truly hope that either you plan accordingly or you just get to the right store, because there's going to be a lot of competition. I think Richard G's, what a waste of a 10-inch. Opinions may vary. I think they say.
Isn't there like another one that has the exact same cover on the Phil Collins one?
Could be.
It was next to it. I don't know. I think all Records Today's titles are cash grabs, so it doesn't really matter what the fuck it is.
Wow, Jose, this is why this show takes so many strays, Jose. We cannot say anything that may come across as negative. No more. This is the house of positivity.
So it's a cash given day, but at least go and support your local store.
Yes. Regardless if you're buying RSD titles or not, Jose is exactly right. Support your locals one way or another, because they're the ones out there who are getting those great used records for you every day, not just twice a year. So, all right, well, let's close this up. We got some more stuff to talk about, but let's close up the pod proper. I want to thank my guests. A spirited conversation. We talked about box sets. I think we've got somebody come on the freestyle who is eager to bring back up box sets, so we'll let them. That's what we call the tease. We tease it.
Yeah.
I'll thank my guests. We'll start with the regulars and then my special guest. First, Jason Rojas, the most controversial figure in what we call the vinyl community. Jason, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Concert Buddy. Thanks for having me.
Tiny music coming at you.
Yeah, where the box set works, right, for the cover. This is glorious, right?
It's a good one.
Should have been the gatefold.
I have that one, and I am
I
happy.
don't know that record.
And then my steady. He already let the big secret out. I am staying with him in about a month. His name is Arnaldo. His channel is Fidelios_frequency. You're going to subscribe, because there is going to be a fantastic video coming soon, and we may touch a little bit on the freestyle. Arnaldo, always a pleasure.
Likewise. Thank you for having me. Let's spread positivity and love in
the cheeseburger of love,
DC.
yeah. And then straight from Dracula's castle, the color has re-entered his face. He is reanimated because the talk of records brings my man back to life. The owner of Aurora Central Records, Jose Moreno Ron, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me and this Snoopy sticker stack that I have here. Thanks. It's a lot.
And then our special guest is a real treat. If you don't know him from YouTube, what's wrong with you? He's a YouTube all-star and a podcast superstar. Again, two guys talking about records. Check your local listings with Jim Gleason, Steve Carlson, who I call the mayor of the vinyl community. Steve, it's so great to have you.
It was fun. I've always enjoyed this podcast. You guys are kind of a crazy bunch, so it's all and just I just hope I didn't lose you some subs, Chan. So yeah, no, that's good time.
If someone did, if someone did.
Yeah, Jose's costing me about 5. Yeah, listen, if I was in the game about subs, my name would be Subway, but it's not. Anyway, all right, thanks for joining us. We're doing freestyle coming up next. All right, so let's freestyle. I switch over the banner. That way people know what's going on. And the freestyle, we've got a couple topics. I mean, we're kind of going to bleed, but the freestyle is so glorious because we talk about all kinds of stuff. And I'm just going to kind of jump into it because this one, Arnaldo moves up in his seat because, and while Steve is still here, because I don't know if we'll have Steve for the whole time, I did want to bring this one up. First of all, Freestyle City. This is where we're at. And let me bring up another guest, Elliot Cruz, who was eager. And we'll talk about the box sets again here in a second, Elliot. I know you wanted to reflect on a box set, so give me a second. And then Wyoming Dave is here. Wyoming Dave, good to see you. Hey, listen, you can't wear a black T-shirt, though. That's not your look. It's my look. It's Jason Rojas's look. Okay, now that's approved.
There.
Concert Buddy T-shirt is approved. So that Steve Carlson, I think, has one. Arnaldo, yours was destroyed in Sri Lanka, so we need to make a new one. So we got one coming. But what I want to talk about for the freestyle is it's a sad day. And it's soon going to be a Saturday. Not Saturday as in day of the week. I see what you did there, Wyoming Dave. You thought I was going to say something else. But and guys, I would be remiss because I need to do this properly because this is a one of those times you're going to remember where you were the day, the moment, and the hour that Arnaldo broke up with Vinyl Me Please. So Arnaldo, we've been taking some strays on this topic, and I don't want to get into it or the crazy people emails or that kind of stuff because I do like the people who are not happy with this. But tell us what led you to this point to break up with a vinyl subscription service that you've been with since, 2017?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm making you big. And then Steve Carlson, I would love your thoughts on this topic because it's a powerful topic. All right, so Arnaldo.
Well, yeah, like you said, Chance, over the last 2 years on my channel, I have been making monthly videos on all of the record of the month releases. And yes. I want to say almost 95% of the time I had fantastic things to say about it, right? I did have an issue with some of the booklets
of course.
That left a little bit to be desired in the art department, right? And would warp occasional records. But overall, I was a member for 7 years. If I didn't enjoy the subscription service and I didn't find that I was getting something for it, I probably would not have stayed that long. So why am I breaking up with Vinyl Me Please? First of all, I came to the realization that with the price hike, I really want to start choosing what I listen to instead. Let's just be an active participant in my record buying rather than sit back and see what Vinyl Me Please offers me. And over the course of the 7 years, I learned about some new records, which was great. And I filled certain holes in my collection because certain artists came out with albums that I was actually looking to get. And
you said filling holes. I want to be very clear. You said filling holes in the record collection. Please continue.
Correct. And it worked really well for me. Now I've come to the point where I don't think it's worth it from a financial point of view. If you do the breakdown in terms of, in light of the new price hikes, what an album costs with the subscription, even with the annual subscription, I don't think it's worth it for me. And a couple of other things. The upcoming quarter, when they announced the releases in the upcoming quarter, out of the 3 tracks, so that's out of 12 albums, I think I was interested in only one of them. So, and there have been some other changes that we've talked about in terms of the executives, creative team,
Sure.
and I'm not so sure that the following quarter, which is the first quarter of 2025, that there'll be records that I'll be interested in. So for now, I'm saying goodbye. Actually, I already did say goodbye.
Oh,
And yeah, well,
no.
I mean, I'm not saying that down the future, maybe 6 months from now, I will join, maybe for the occasional one record or maybe for the trimester, for the quarter, because there's probably a series of records that I'll be interested in. But overall, I think the long term, they've lost me as a long-term subscriber, like the yearly subscription. So I'm moving away from that, and I'm just going to sit and wait for a little bit. And yeah, that's it.
So I think in summation, Arnaldo's saying, "Follow me, please. It's not you, it's me." And I think,
right.
Yeah, because in fairness, and again, I would encourage you, if you haven't seen our top tier production of Is Vinyl Me Please Doomed, it's on the channel, Concert Buddy, Buddie. We hit on a lot of this, and I feel like, yeah, there was a little ha-ha, and yeah, there was a little bit of probably pointed commentary, but I was a member. Arnaldo was a member. Jason came in and out of it. Jose, I think, has had some titles. And Steve, I'd love to get your take on this in a second. So I think we would love for it to work out. We'd love for them to get their stuff together. Arnaldo?
I'm not walking back what I said on previous streams.
Sure.
We had a laugh. I don't think what I said was in any way disparaging. There were critical comments. Criticism is hard, right? But when you're in a business of making records, or you're in a business of putting out videos on your YouTube channel, right? You're open to criticism. You're open to be judged by someone. There's going to be great things said, and there's going to be not so great things said. So I call it, I call it as it is. I've praised them for so many years. I continue to say that they have done fantastic records. Go back on my channel and look at all the videos that I've made about them. But right now, there have been the last couple of months that have left a little bit to be desired. Should we show the Ramones record that took a month?
Yeah, and so this is the last thing, and then we'll get to Steve, because I'd love to hear his take on this. Is Arnaldo has broken up with the club. He broke up prematurely. We won't get into all the details, but the last record, correct me if I'm wrong, came this month after the big Labor Day delay. They took off for Labor Day, and it really threw their shipping and processing group for a loop, delayed things for multiple weeks. So Arnaldo is excited for this Ramones Rocket the Russia title. He was bragging to me. He's like, "Chance, you quit the club too early." Nah. I was like, "Oh man, maybe I did." And so Arnaldo's on bated breath. And Arnaldo, can you please hang on? I'm going to make you big, and I'm going to hit you with the drum roll because.
Well, actually, can I just add? I had both tracks. I had the Essentials and I had the rock track. And this month they both featured the Ramones. And
I just totally flubbed that up. So Arnaldo, can you please describe what you're showing and sharing with the audience at home, please?
For the visually impaired, it is a 3.5, maybe 3-inch seam split, like smack on the bottom of it. Because when I take it out of the very sturdy mailer, I'm always looking at the top seam split, because usually that's the one that usually gets damaged. So my first sigh of relief is, wow.
The top.
And I flip it to the bottom, and here you go. Nice surprise, heart sinks. And I know you don't play Yes, Stunty's going to tell me you don't play the record jacket.
You don't play the jackets.
Yes,
but you
what?
pay
I'm
for them.
paying
You pay for them.
$44 to have a tip-on
what
jacket.
you're getting.
That is a
what you're
gatefold,
getting. There shouldn't be a
right?
thing.
Which is
Thank you,
different
Elliot.
from what the regular version is. I expect to get a 100% good record. Sorry if my expectations are very high.
I agree with you.
But you know, but it doesn't
Was the
stop
record
there,
warped as well?
because the rock selection also was a Ramones record. They did a twofer this month, and guess what? I got Too Tough to Die.
I love this guy.
And again, wow, the top part is, 100% good, and then you flip it to the bottom and you see another scene. So yeah,
They hit you with the 1-2, Arnaldo. You thought you
1-2.
had it, and then they just got you.
but this wasn't the reason why I quit the club. I already had made up my mind.
There we go.
And at this point, knowing that, where's the Rocket to Russia? Put it down. Knowing that the Rocket to Russia was oversold, I figured, great, now I'm probably never going to get a good copy. And this one wasn't, so I had some hope. And
Hang on, Jason.
rub it in,
Jason got a
Jason.
copy?
Sure,
Jason,
rub it
how
in. What about the top?
Pretty good.
So the thing is, they knew that Arnaldo was leaving, so
Yeah,
that,
I think they did it on purpose.
they were just like, let me just fix this record, right?
There is no doubt we're starting that conspiracy theory. Yes, they shook the shit out of it. They tossed it like a frisbee in the parking lot for about 10 minutes, and then they put it on the truck.
That's right.
Well, let me. Can I finish my story?
Yeah, finish.
So,
and then,
knowing that Rocket to Russia was oversold, I figured, yeah, Jose, you can curse for me. I'm probably not going to see another copy. So I sent the email to customer service with the pictures, and Melody Arc, which is the renowned AI customer service, replies back asking me, well, we're very sorry. We can either offer you a $15 credit, or we could send you a replacement. So I'm like, you need artificial intelligence to come up with that kind of response and alternative? Of course I respond, and I'm saying, no, send me, let's see where this goes. Send me a replacement for both. Thank you. Next thing I know, the confirmation that the order went through has not yet shipped. It's been almost 5 days. It's still sitting.
well, after this video, it may not ship, but at least right now, the train is on the track.
So let's applaud the customer service of
Yes.
Vinyl Me Please, which
Absolutely.
I always have. Every issue that I have had with Vinyl Me Please, whether it be a torn jacket or a warped record or a defect, a pressing defect where it was skipping or some problem, they've always resolved it. I can always say that I'm 100%, yes, initially frustrating and also annoying to have to go through the process of putting in, customer service requests and all that and waiting for the next one to arrive. But in the end, the issues always got solved. So I don't know how much more positive can I be towards Vinyl Me Please?
Well, we're going to work on that. We're sending Arnaldo to an all expenses paid trip to vinyl rehab, and we're hoping that after this trip, Arnaldo will say nothing but nice things. Now, Steve, another reason I wanted to have you on this particular program, and you get stickers. I mean, these stickers are amazing.
Stickers.
The Rocket to Russia. Well, yes, and I got the.
Yes, and we got the inserts.
Look at all these stickers.
Hey, Steve is the real sticker mania. Look at this. Look at this. Sorry, Frank, I
Finally,
know you're
please. All in one envelope this last time. They're getting rid of them, I guess.
So, Mr. Carlson, this is why.
Oh, you got all of them in one envelope?
Yeah.
See, I know I'm on the naughty list.
You're on the
I
naughty
know.
list.
They are hand picking.
Because I stick with them. They're rewarding me. They're going, hey, he stuck with us. Give him some stickers.
Yeah.
Easy to please. But Steve, you've and all joking aside, and this is another reason I wanted to have you on tonight, because I don't think we've even talked about this, maybe in passing. But you did a video. Let's call it as after you moved, so maybe in the last 2 or 3 months, maybe 4 months, maybe 5 months. I don't know. It's been this year where you were talking about vinyl EPs because, an issue you had, and please, if I'm telling it wrong, correct me here in a second. You had stocked up a bunch of credits talking about like what Arnaldo said is like the stuff they had just wasn't fitting your bill. And by the way, sorry, the real Mr. Sticker Mania, Frank, is here. Shout out to Mr. Sticker Mania. I had a feeling you're watching, Frank. So anyway, but no, Steve's video was something a lot of us can relate to who have done Vinyl Me Please over any period of time. And sometimes the titles just aren't out there. They just don't hit you, and that's fine. You just keep banking credit. Well, Steve had banked. What was your kitty at one point?
Almost $600 in credit.
$600 in credit. And Steve, can you tell the story? In a quick way about you went to cash in some of this and you ran into some difficulty. Can you inform the audience about this?
Yeah, there was just. First off, I thought, okay, I'll spend it on a box set. You go in there and you're trying to check out. And there was no place to do it. There's no place to use credit in box sets. And so I go on to Reddit because Reddit knows everything. If you don't know what to do, you go to Reddit. And I put this bitch in there and they go, yeah, that's true. They're not doing this. And so, of course, I write Vinyl Me Please. I tried to call, I don't know. I did not get Arnaldo's hot chick or whatever that he was talking to. I didn't get anything. So eventually they did put credits onto box sets. But the other thing was they had this big sale going on, 40% off. Oh, man, okay.
A whole lot of sales lately. A whole lot of sales. Yep.
I'm going to get rid of all this credit on this, I'll buy a bunch of 40% off. Well, so I'm trying to check out. Again, there was no spot for credit. So I go to Reddit again because they're going to help me out. Thank God. Of course. I don't know who does even Reddit. I guess a lot of people do. But so they say you have to, if you check out as a guest, there'll be a thing on there where you can use credits. I go, what? A guest can use credits? But how did a guest get credits? But sure as hell, there was. And so there it was. But to use your credits, you had to pay full price. So it was 40% off. But if you use your credits, you're going to pay full price for it.
So hang on, Steve, before you finish this. So I know people at home are probably feeling like this right now. So a little Benny Hill, all over the place. Steve's just trying to get some damn records with a $600 credit. So please continue, Steve.
And so I've been trying to get rid of these credits. And I can't, so I go in, they have all these things, you can use it on this and that, and I'm pulling up samples, and what the hell is this? What? Who is this person? Now, I did have some come in because I have about, I think I only got $300 left to spend, and then I want out of the club. I can't get out. They're like, no, I can't spend those credits. We're just going to put crap out.
They've moved the door for Steve to exit the premises, yeah.
So, I brought in ODA. I don't know what the hell they are, but, I just want to say my seams are not split. I brought in this one. I don't know what the hell it is. Vonga?
What in the hell are you doing? What is this?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'll find out when I open it and play it, but I just got in.
That looks like something I would buy.
It's no idea about what the hell.
Steve, they need to put you in the Vinyl Me Please Hall of Fame. You are taking all the inventory they can get rid of.
So, and I have another batch coming in of just stuff I had. They did have my Du Mokhtar. I bought a couple of them to give to people. I mean, right now I'm just buying stuff to give to people. Maybe someone. You never know.
Steve, if that turns out to be VCLT coming my way, I'm going to probably laugh my head off.
Yeah, $300 got to go, baby, because I want out. I just want out.
Unbelievable. So
you may never get it, Steve.
Well, Steve, again, the advice is, Steve's just taking records. He's just literally, he's not even looking at his keyboard. He's just literally booking, get the cards. Steve he's trying to get out.
They did to me, this is the greatest box set ever.
Yeah.
This is the greatest thing that, and this is when Vinyl Me Please I thought was great. I got the Grateful Dead, but not now, man.
What the fuck is that ruckus going on?
I don't know. I know. So Steve's trying to escape Vinyl Me Please right now. As Trevor says, it's Vinyl Me Please, the escape room. I think that is an excellent, excellent observation. And so my man BK is here, and he says when Vinyl Me Please was asking for questions for their open forum on their Discord,
the fuck
he
is that?
posted, "quote Will you give Fidelio's frequencies his money back already?" End quote. The post was
You're
removed.
kidding. I didn't see the
It was removed, so Arnaldo, you wouldn't have seen it. So see the deep state is in full effect. It's unbelievable.
The fuck is that ruckus going on? What is that?
Yeah, Mommy Dave, is that you? What are you doing over here? Come on.
sorry, it's me. Let me mute. I'm
Oh,
trying
all
to
right.
get the record back into
Sounded like
the-
someone was like
It's not me.
eating a fucking cat on the other table.
Unbelievable. So not to get too far from the original topic, and this is why Elliot wanted to join. Elliot's blowing up my phone. He's like, "Let me on, you damn Yankee! Come on!" So Elliot, you had a box set. We were talking box sets earlier. What is this box set that you've got to share with the masses, please?
Why so blue, Elliot? Why so blue?
It just worked out that way. My Grail, literally
Hang on.
only
This card. Listen, we've
You
got
found the cup of Christ?
we've got to do this one the right way. Congratulations, Elliot. What is this Grail that you have now obtained?
literally my Grail. I mean, nothing else is a Grail at this point.
So tell us, it says Harry Smith's complete anthology for American folk music. So tell us about it.
Oh, that's awesome.
This came out in double records, 3 sets of double records in 1952. Harry Smith, his collection was given to Smithsonian Folkways, and they released it in 1952 in 3 parts. The first one of them was social songs, one of them was ballads, and one of them was social music, and one of them was just titled songs. And it's from his collection of folk music from old 78s. And then there's the Lost 4th 2 record set, country music and bluegrass, that was never released. This is 8 records. Smithsonian never put it into this box set. And it's available in very limited quantities. It's let's see, Mississippi Records has a version, and they've got theirs in a box. And this is Dox, Doxy, Doxy from Italy, a gray area sale. I guess the years went by for that enabled them to release it. I mean, these are all taken from 78, so it's not like you're going to get audiophile sound, but a nice collection in the old style of the 78 albums. That's the original album format. And this is the start of the folk revival in the United States and worldwide, I guess. But this is really what got people going and caused folk music to really explode in the 1950s and into the 1960s. So Harry Smith's complete anthology of American folk music. And let me tell you, this ain't cheap right here. I've been watching for it for a long time, and I didn't care whether I got the Mississippi or the Doxy pressing. They're just not out there. There's very limited quantities. There's nothing on Discogs. The individual records, the 2 album sets, they are going for $100 to $200 used. And
Hey, Elliot, real quick, can you John Bibba Boom and raise a good one? Can you name some of the artists on it?
Oh yeah, you got all kinds of people from the period. You got Charlie Poole and North Carolina Ramblers. You got let's see. Of course, when you're asking me, I'm drawing a blank. Jim Jackson. You've got Uncle Dave Macon on a few cuts. You've got Reverend Moses Mason, Bascom Lamar, Lunsford, the folk collector, Clarence Ashley. You've got
Is there any?
just a slew. Everything from Cajun music to ministers doing sermons to Appalachian fiddlers. Just everything you can imagine is in this, and it's just an amazing set. I bought that one. There were two for sale
Well, hang on. So 2 for sale online, or where did you track this down?
on Discogs.
Discogs,
If you
okay.
find one in the wild, you grab it, even if you got to pay
Yeah.
hundreds of dollars for it. You grab it because they are not available. There were two of these and one on the Mississippi label. And the Mississippi Records label one is in Canada, not available in the U.S. And they want $740 Canadian, which is about $1,000 U.S. for it. I got this one because it somebody in Maryland had it, and they asked $331 for it, and I jumped on it. Once I established that this seller was a legitimate seller, it's not one of the scams or anything, because the cheapest I'd been seeing was $500, usually $600 or $700.
Yeah, so Music in the House says there is one copy of the Mississippi version on Discogs for $750. It's $90
that's
or
one. That's Canadian money, so that's about $1,000 US.
Wow.
And when I bought this one for ended up being $354 with tax and everything. When I bought it, the other one for $499 sold just like that within a day after I
people are
bought it.
watching. Yeah, sure.
So they were probably waiting to pull the trigger on that one, and then I got it, and they said, "Well, there's not going to be anything I can get better than that." But man, I'm so excited to have this. I've listened to about a third of it so far, and I wish I could have heard more before now. But I really just got it about 3 or 4 days ago, and cleaned them and put them on, and it was sealed. It was brand new sealed.
Oh, even better, even better. Well, that's exciting, Elliot. BK says, I have the second volume of the 1952 Folkways issues. Are you familiar with that one? He said he found it in a dollar bin, not to rub it in your face.
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. If you can find one, that's great. The second one was the one called Social Music. And that it's worth $150, $200. Just one of those. They're scarce as hen's teeth.
Ellie, do you collect Folkways? A lot of Folkways?
I have a lot of Folkways, yeah.
I have a lot of them that I'm looking for, but it's mostly like the 60s, late 50s ones, because they used to do a lot of like world music. But what was interesting was that they went to like the actual place, recorded it, and most of them have like actual translations, which was back then like a huge fucking hassle, you know. So there's a lot of them that I'm looking for.
So
Folkways is gradually reissuing some of their, repressing some of their albums. Not a lot. Most of them they're just trying to sell as digital downloads or CDs, but some of them they're releasing on vinyl.
The American Frogs one.
That's exactly what I was going to say. They just did the North American Frogs or whatever it's called. Yeah.
Yeah. So the vinyl disc and Sean says that's an extremely important set of music. Without Harry Smith compiling those tracks, an important part of history could have been lost.
Very much so. That is so true.
Well, that's awesome. So, Elliot, with all the goodwill, everyone's excited for you getting your grails. Jose should be happy because Vinyl Richie has now turned his eyes on you. And he says, I can't imagine paying $1,000 for a box set of banjo music. Elliot, how do you respond to this story?
Well, it's definitely not all banjo music. There's all kinds of different folk musics on there. There's stuff from the Texas-Mexican border. There's stuff from Cajun country in Louisiana. There's stuff from New England fiddlers. There's cowboy songs. There's just a wide variety. Richard S. though, 750 Canadian that's not five. I wish it was 533.
It's the other way around. Yeah.
It's $1,000.
All right.
You can't buy the one that's for sale. If you could go to get somebody in Canada to buy it for you for 750 Canadian, I don't know. That gets too confusing for me.
It's late at night for math, Elliot. We're not going to put you on the spot about math in it.
Right. but it's if convert that Canadian to US, it's about 1,000.
So I
If
know
you're-
I'm going to ask you a question, Elliot, that everyone wants to know. And Steve Carlson's already. I saw him licking his lips. Elliot, would this be the last piece that you would part with in your collection? Does that mean that much to you? Because Steve will write you a check right now. Steve has got the checkbook.
I think so. Yeah, I don't think I'll part with this one. This will be like part of my legacy. When I go, my grandson will inherit these things, and he
Wow,
can
we're
either
talking legacy records. Okay,
he will either decide that he hadn't have any interest in it, and I will have given him enough instruction in how to dispose of it wisely. Sell it to
The ceremony,
people
yeah,
that
the
will
burning
give him what
ceremony. Yes,
what it's worth. Gets what, or he'll keep it, and he'll be that young guy that's got a record, a phonograph record collection.
I like it. I like it a lot. All right, boys. Well, another thing we were going to talk about, and I think this is probably a good way to run the freestyle. I know this is kind of structured, but not really. Is I think Melinda Murphy did a video recently talking about Discogs, talking about how much weight to put into some of the Discogs feedback about how a record sounds. I'm just curious. It's kind of like a straw poll. I know I do. I will read the reviews, particularly if it's a pricey record. Just curious, Jose, I'll start with you. Does a random person you've never met before leaves a review on Discogs, how much weight does that carry if you're considering buying something on Discogs?
Well, I'll tell you something even worse. I'll tell you when somebody gives you a weird ass review of a record you put out. That's even.
Well, this is true. You do make music as the lead El Presidente, El Vice Presidente. I am the Vice President of Logistics and Customer Relations for Aurora Central Records. But Jose, you're my boss. You're my jefe. So
yeah,
tell us about it.
Well, sometimes it's weird because I feel like, for example, one of the records that sold out within a day that we released is a Japanese experimental record called Mercebeat, and it sold out in a day, and I was like super happy, I was like excited, and then the first fucking comment when they put it up on Discogs was like, "Why the fuck is this record out on vinyl?" And so I was just like, "All right," and then I just like commented something, and the guy kept like putting like even worse stuff on it. And so it feels a little weird, but it's nice to hear. I don't particularly care, like I've said before in this channel, when I hear reviews, especially about like pressings, if they're like, "Oh, this record's scratchy" or whatever. When I took it out, I do my own reviews. I still buy it. I get it, and especially if you buy it on Amazon and it's bent or whatever, just send it back. So someone's review, like someone that I don't trust, I don't really care for it, to be honest. You're muted, by the way, James. He's muted.
Muted.
You're muted.
Sorry, I was processing something. My mental computer was breaking. First of all, before I was going to ask Jason his thoughts on this, but Elliot, we got some controversy. Depeche Commode says I followed Elliot on Instagram and he didn't follow me back. Elliot,
I will.
How could you do this?
I will, in my very boomer abilities as a social media person, I will definitely find Depeche Mode's Instagram.
No, hang on.
account.
Depeche Commode, not Depeche Mode. We want Depeche
Okay.
Commode. Think of a urinal and Depeche. Okay.
I will find that. That was certainly not intentional.
All right.
Certainly not intentional.
Good. All right. I just want to say that because we are about running the good ship lollipop around here, and so I'm happy to squash that beef. That's what we do around here. So Rojas, does the feedback of complete strangers on Discogs ever move the needle for you in terms of buying something that you're on the fence about?
No, it makes me laugh really hard.
Laugh really hard. Tell us
yes. Usually those reviews, they're the same. They're like, "I don't have the original. This thing sounds great," Okay, fair enough. You can't get the original. I get it. It's too expensive. I mean, let's face it. Like, it's hard to get an original 58 of Jerry Lee Lewis. Like, let's be honest here. This one was owned by Trey. We thank Trey.
Shout out to Trey. Shout out to
Yes.
Trey.
Shout out to that nephew that he married. Niece,
This is his niece. Jose, we're not starting.
Yeah, the niece.
Here's an OG of Art Blakey and Monin. I get it. Like you can't. Some people just don't want to get the OG.
Yeah.
I get it. It's got a stain here. It's
no, that's you can't play
Is that blood? Is that blood?
This could be from the last hurricane. I don't know.
Jason, can you return that? Did you keep the receipt? Is there a receipt?
Let me call Vinyl Me Police right now.
Yeah, let's get Melody. Was her name? Arnaldo.
Melody Arc.
Melody Ark. Okay, fair enough.
I get it.
Melody from the
early
radio
'60s. Robert Johnson. I get it.
Jose, good one, Jose.
Can you imagine Melody working for Vinyl Me Please?
No.
Smoking that horrible hashish.
No.
I mean, the reviews, I laugh. Some of them are very curious. I've enjoyed that one person named Street Mouse. They're not really reviewing.
Oh, these people well enough to know their handles? I've never seen like a repeat. Okay.
The person writes in a very Allen Ginsberg, Kerouac, train of thought about how they lived through the music.
Think of you, Naomi.
Man, those are entertaining. And then even better when people start striking back at him, that person,
Well, Discogs is the lost social media platform that people don't talk about enough. Vinyl Richie is just, no one is safe from Vinyl Richie's barbs today. He says, I always listen to complete strangers for advice. I think fair enough.
Exactly.
That's strong. Steve, where do you land on this? Because, we kind of talked, we made a joke about it earlier about Record Store Day and going back, and then you see people on YouTube showing the records, and you're like, change of heart. Does that ever happen for you from other places, reading Discogs reviews, or you go to Reddit? I didn't even know you went to Reddit. That's dangerous. It's almost as bad as the Steve Hoffman forum. It's pretty rough.
Well, my son's mentioned Reddit. I didn't know Discogs even had freaking reviews. So there you go.
Well, now we've ruined Steve.
If I'm looking at. When I go on to Discogs, I play the samples and I just see if I like it. Now, for instance, I'll show this original from Ricky Eleganga. You know what the sample sounds like?
Crap. Sure.
Yeah, because it's been out in the desert or whatever, for 30 years or something. So. I just want it, so I'll buy it. But reviews, nah. I think Vinyl Richie said pass. They're a bunch of complete strangers. What the hell do they know? I mean, I don't know about them. I'll watch videos on YouTube. What you guys are talking, and if something kind of gets me curious, I'll go. The ones that really get me are the ones that drop needle samples, and then I'll just suck right into it. I just. Because when you're trying to explain something, we all hear it differently. I just need to hear the music. Reading's fine, but it's kind of like a picture. The music's the picture, and you get the computer. So there you go. But thanks for the information that there is reviews on Discogs. Something to go look at now. I appreciate that.
I think if you're ever bored, read the reviews on this beast. Read them. They're hilarious. Everyone's reviewing
good, huh?
but no one's
if I'm not
reviewing
mistaken, the reviews are if you click on a particular pressing of the record, if you scroll down
at the very bottom,
there might be a little something there.
Oh, I don't bother even going down that.
I never even bother going that far down to scrolling that far down.
No, not enough time. But all right, I have to check that one out. There.
That's what we call good bathroom reading, Steve. So I would say good bathroom reading is the Discogs reviews. Arnaldo, has a Discogs review ever helped you or hurt you in a potential purchase?
Depends.
Okay, tell us.
I'll read. Well, the first ones that have at the beginning, middle, or end have the quote, "This is the best record collection I own." This is the best record in my collection that I have. Yeah, that is a complete strike. Okay. Your opinion is really not taken.
Valid. Sure.
But yes. but it depends. Some reviews are a bit more informative because they will say, I have an original copy. I have the repress of the 10th anniversary, for example, and then I have this new one. And they'll intelligently say that maybe the bottom end is better on this one, or some go very much into detail. So when I see a review that goes a bit more into detail and will knock one pressing over the other, say I prefer, or
Carries more weight.
exactly, carries more weight. Some are more informative because the descriptions in Discogs are not entirely complete. Where they'll say, "Oh, the insert is really not that color," or it's heavy cardstock, and the review, like the body of the description of the release, doesn't say that. Sometimes they're adding to it. Have they ever pushed me to buy a pressing instead of another? I can't really remember. I always kind of gloss over the musical review of the record. Like, I'm not there. If I'm interested, I probably know the record. I just want to know if that particular pressing is any good or what anyone's thoughts are. Yeah, but we're focusing on Discogs reviews. Is the Hoffman Forums reviews how much they carry, or is that for another episode?
Maybe that's for another episode. I just brought the Discogs one. I mean, it's kind of you say tomato, I say tomato, because the Steve Hoffman Forums, which I consider the butthole of the vinyl community, it's a slippery slope because there's usually a lot of nonsense on there. Now, before we do Wyoming Dave, I've been a terrible host because I see you posting in the chat. You said I think some of the Discog reviews are helpful. Tell us more about that.
Well, I still haven't ordered from Discogs yet, but some people around them like that. I showed you that Stone Temple Pilots purple.
The Walmart record, yeah. Yep.
They were right on the money with the sound pressing of that one. So some of those reviews I think are pretty good for strangers.
So it's just another source that maybe will push your decision tree across the line.
I don't read all of them, some of them sometimes.
Well,
and you know where it comes in handy? You know how now they're coming out with like so many different variants of a new record? I'll scroll through the different variants to see if there's any difference between the sound quality in terms of, surface noise or, mostly like that. Just to compare the different color variants. And I have noticed people that have said, oh, I have both this color, and that color is noisier than the other one. Sure. Or they're perfectly fine. Sometimes that I could find some kind of useful information in them. I wouldn't write them off completely.
I mean, it's helpful, but I don't think it's hurtful. That makes sense. But to your question, aren't all about Hoffman Forums. I think it's like anything else. It's you got that. It's in the eye of the beholder, I think, is the way to approach it, because there's some obviously very opinionated people on the internet. I don't know if you've heard this before, but
there are a lot.
Yes.
Elliot is new to interneting, and Elliot, are you taken back by just how much opinion? Just they don't even stop. It just comes right at you full force.
The vitriol in some of it's what I notice. I love a good lively debate.
Sure.
But when on the Hoffman Forums today, in fact, they were doing like list five records that changed music, and people were throwing in different things, and the argument over the Velvet Underground and Kraftwerk was, I mean, these people were getting so worked up, and I'm like, oh my God, just you're talking about five records that you think that music changed in some way because of. Just chill. Everybody, one person doesn't have to be right and everybody else wrong. There are multiple answers, to the question.
Well, actually, Elliot, that's almost true. And I think Jason will back this up, because when you're talking about the five greatest records of all time, the list starts and stops with only one. Michael Fremer, Can You Take a Joke? Jason, you don't even have that on the ready anymore. That used to be some of our stock material on the presentation.
It's down there.
You've buried the Michael Fremer record?
Yes.
I mean, I promised Steve Carlson, look, you've never seen the Michael Fremer record. Come on, Surface Noise tonight. and you'll see probably 2 of them. Jason he'll double area. And Steve, I'm sorry to let you down. Jason just.
Hey, I did find the reviews. You're right. There's
Oh
reviews on
no,
there.
Steve! Oh, I'm so sorry, Steve. That yeah.
Holy
Well,
crap!
well,
Some of these guys go on forever.
Why don't you just read one of them live?
Yeah,
What do you-
let's do some prose, I believe they call it. Read us something that you feel the audience would benefit from, Steve.
I got one that's like a book, but okay.
No, don't read that one.
How about mine plays clean with no lock track as others experience. Some very slight dishing and wish the vinyl was a little heavier, but overall pleased. That nice. I don't know what dishing is.
That's a
Right.
kind of
Warp.
warping,
Warp.
right? It's a
Warp.
warp.
Right? It's warm.
It goes down.
Yeah, dish.
Wow.
It's like
dish down.
edge warp.
All right. I was trying to find some bad one.
I'm sure there's some.
Yeah. They like
What record was that, Steve?
the Gorillas, the vinyl. My 2024 repress caught distortion when I turn the volume up. It sounds okay until it gets too loud. I don't have this problem with other records. Maybe it's just
Don't
cut
play it
too
so
loud.
loud then.
Yeah, turn it down then.
Yeah,
I mean,
turn it down.
simple as that. So,
Chance,
okay.
Yes, sir.
let me clear up the Canadian U.S. exchange.
Oh no,
rate.
yeah, Elliot, we don't believe in fake news,
I
Elliot,
just
so
went
please.
back and I did have it backwards. What it is, it's listed on Discogs for sale, that Mississippi label anthology, $1,000 Canadian, and then it translates it to U.S. currency, $750 or $40, something like that. So the others were correct. I had it kind of flip flop there, but
Well,
you know, it shows up when you're in the U.S. It shows up as the U.S. price, $750. And
Fair
when you
enough.
click on it, you see it's Canadian
fair
as
enough.
$1,000 Canadian.
Elliot, thank you for clearing that up.
I was
because
getting mad at you, Elliot.
Listen,
but
the last thing Arnaldo and me in particular, last thing we want to take is any more strays, because we do not need any more upset people. We just want to be peace. I don't have the funny the Mac. I have a cheap MacBook, so mine doesn't do that. But I think, guys, to put a bow, and Arnaldo just did it. Thank you, Arnaldo. To put a bow on this episode of Surface Noise and this topic, Richard S. says, tell us exactly where the Discogs review hurt you. So I think that is a great line, Richard S. It's tremendous. And now that we've ruined Steve Carlson from record collecting, now that he's found the Discogs review section, you may not be buying as many records.
I've stayed up the rest of the night to write reviews. I'm just going to go. I'm not even going to listen to the damn thing. I'm just going to write reviews. And, you know, that way I'll become really popular.
You just have to
Unbelievable.
reply to the bad reviews. That's all you have to do.
Yeah. Good ones. Who wants to deal with those?
Yes.
Anyway.
Exactly.
Well, I want to thank my guests again. It's so much fun. Freestyle, Jose, Arnaldo, Jason, my regulars, Wyoming Dave, Elliot coming in clutch, and then our special guest Steve Carlson, the mayor of the vinyl community. Again, two guys talking about records, a podcast you should not miss. You should bookmark it right next to Vinyl Community Podcast. It's a 1-2 or a 2-1 or a 1-2, however you want to do it, of vinyl collecting goodness. Arnaldo is still healing from the Vinyl Me Please breakup, so we're going to need some time to get through the woods. But I want to thank everybody for watching, contributing, all that good stuff, and we will see you. Well, next week is the B-side, so you'll see some familiar faces on the B-side, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. But thanks for joining.
Easy.